Good morning. Always nice to see you on a Friday as we usher in the weekend. And if your weekends look like the ones at our house, that tends to be our grocery shopping day tomorrow morning. So we're going to help you a bit this morning. Go ahead and get pen and paper ready to make that grocery list, because we're so happy this morning to have Nicole Pajorko on the show. She is a registered dietitian with Food City, and she has got lots of options to make those New Year's resolutions successful for you. So good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess one key to success, whether it's organizing or balancing your finances or how you choose to eat, is making it work for you.
Yes.
And sometimes time is our biggest enemy, am I right?
Absolutely. Time, I think, is the biggest barrier when it comes to making changes for your health. And a lot of us are thinking about that, I think, in the new year. It's January, and so we start out with the best of intentions, but it's easy to fizzle out when we have high-end, lofty goals that are super detailed.
So I'm a huge Brussels sprouts eater. I probably eat Brussels sprouts 3 or 4 times a week. I love them. And I will cut mine up the way you have these here and roast them, and away we go.
Yep.
I like the idea, though, that at Food City, so many things you can buy are already prepped for you.
Yes, absolutely. As dietitians, we recommend, of course, a good tip to improving eating habits is increasing your fruit and vegetable intake, kind of however you can get it in, and this prioritizes convenience. So our Food City shortcuts in the produce department have recipe-ready vegetables. They are, washed and prepped, and really all you have to do is throw them in the oven for 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how you like them. Drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil if you like, but these are ready to go, and there's some salt, pepper, and spices too.
I like that you said the words add in as opposed to take away.
Yes.
The mindset is so important.
Absolutely. When we think about taking away, we end up thinking about that food all the time, right? And so and when it comes to making changes and sticking with them, what we really want to think about is incorporating better for you ingredients. So thinking about fruits and vegetables, of course, most people know that. But then, of course, part of a balanced meal is going to be proteins, which can take a little bit longer to cook too.
Unless you do what you've done down
Yes.
here and either go with your tuna fish
Yep.
or you're ready to go chicken.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, one thing you want to keep in mind when you're looking for protein or anything that comes in a can or frozen is the sodium. So what other ingredients are they adding to it? I recommend looking for anything with 600 milligrams or less. That should be the cutoff, ideally per serving. And if it has a little bit more sodium, just be mindful of where else you're getting some of that salt added in the day.
Okay, because I would have perhaps been wrong in making an assumption, so correct me here. Frozen vegetables typically have less sodium than canned. Is that true or not?
So it can be true depending on what's added in it. When you get, frozen vegetables, you just want to focus on that's it, no added sauces or added salt or sugar. But canned, with the processing, of course, they can add something in. But a good rule of thumb is just to look for no salt added or low sodium options. And of course, when you're shopping at the Food City stores, you can look for our Pick Well Better For You shopping guide, which is going to make it easy to identify those items.
So if you grow up in the South, even still, most of us tend to add salt to our salt around here.
Of course.
So you brought spices because that can be another way to offset the salt you've been adding.
Yes, absolutely. There's about 2,000 milligrams, so your whole day's worth of sodium in just a teaspoon of salt. So we really want to be mindful of kind of ditching the salt shaker as much as we can anyway, and flavoring our food with, herbs and spices and citrus if you want to. And then, of course, something like your salt-free seasoning blends, Southwest, garlic and herb, anything like that is going to help reduce that.
Tell me that number again. You said how much sodium we should consume?
There's about 2,300 milligrams, and for the general healthy population, that is the recommendation.
So if you were having something, because I think you brought those are tomatoes, right?
Yep.
So if you brought, if you made, let's say, chili on a football weekend.
Right.
even though that's got the protein, be careful because that chili packet might have a lot of sodium in it.
Absolutely, and you can find, of course, or reduced sodium chili seasonings, or just use your own chili powder, some cumin, whatever flavors you can find, reduced sodium blends.
So what else is very helpful about shopping at Food City is that y'all on your website have recipes.
Yes.
So that if you're wanting to kind of take that healthy step forward, but you don't really know where to start, turn to you for some ideas.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We have Dish and a Dash recipes, which that's kind of the concept that we were talking about, so fast but nutrient-dense meals. And the beauty of Dish and a Dash is they're ready in at most 30 minutes, no more than that, but a lot of them are even like 5 or 10 minutes where you just kind of throw it and go, or set it and forget it. But it pairs, pantry stable, nutrient dense items with some fresh ingredients too that are prepared like recipe ready.
Something that I guess we've kind of become aware of again, our mothers always told us this, but it's kind of a buzzword now, is our fiber intake.
Yes.
That's really important because it keeps you from being so hungry, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Fiber is filling, and it helps, certain types of fiber help reduce cholesterol, helps manage our blood sugars, which is really correlated to our, hunger and satiety levels. So absolutely increasing fiber intake. It has so many benefits, so good for you, and most Americans are not consuming anywhere near the recommendation.
Sorry if I'm putting you on the hot seat, but because often if you're going to have oatmeal, for example, that has a lot of fiber, doesn't it?
Yes.
But there's a sugar component. So a lot of moms were thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't do that for my kids in the morning, instead we'll have eggs. But are you saying that oatmeal might help avoid that sugar plunge?
Yes, definitely. So when we think about carbohydrates, of course, that's kind of a hot button topic in diet culture today. We do want to think about the quality of carbohydrates. So the amount of fiber is going to affect how those carbohydrates and how that blood sugar level rises, and kind of how long it stays. So even blood sugar, look for more fiber. I recommend about 3 grams at least per serving. And a good rule of thumb too is to choose whole grains at least 50% of the time. So whole wheat pasta, quinoa is a whole grain, and oats like you recommended. It is also wise, I think, to look for no added sugar options or reduced sugar. You can certainly sweeten it, doctor it up yourself if you use kind of plain oatmeal packets too, and that way you can kind of control the amount of sodium.
So I know another great thing that for a lot of people really enjoy this. I'm old-fashioned and I kind of like going to the grocery store, but some people really love to shop online and do it that way. But when you're in the store, you really have a chance to then see kind of the guide that y'all provide to help people shop well.
Yes, absolutely. It's right there in front of you. So if you're looking for pick, we have 7 tags. We have our dietitian's pick, which has essential nutrients. It's going to be lower in saturated fat, of course. We have heart healthy. So for people with maybe heart disease or trying to watch their sodium and saturated fat, that's a great tag to look for. Low sodium, whole grain, makes it easy to identify those whole grains very quickly. Then we also have no added sugar, and gluten-free for our gluten-free shoppers.
You brought eggs, which is a hot commodity. Congratulations for finding some. Some people worry, though, about eggs and the cholesterol. If you're wanting to go with egg whites instead, will that have the protein benefit, though?
Egg whites definitely have the protein. And I recommend, too, if you are somebody who is maybe watching saturated fat intake, which is more correlated to blood cholesterol levels than the cholesterol in the eggs, then maybe just doing 1 yolk and a few more egg whites to get some of that protein while also controlling the calories.
I mean, I'm sure you know your science inside and out, so it all makes sense to you. When you listen to you, I'm wanting to take notes because it is more complicated than most of us fully grasp, keeping that balance. So is the easiest way to approach it, Nicole, just the whole idea of moderation?
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you want to eat something, I always say all foods fit in your eating plan. So whatever you like, I say absolutely have it. Of course, portion control is a big thing. And then some foods are what I call everyday foods, and then other foods are sometimes foods.
And I guess too, with the cost of everything being a little bit higher, people are trying to watch and stretch $1. Menu planning is a great thing because then you're not wasting a purchase. You can use spices in multiple ways and that kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned a minute ago too, the benefits of shopping in store, but there are also benefits to shopping online too. So you can plan that out and kind of from the comfort of your own home, take inventory, take stock of what you already have. I always recommend meal planning, sitting down and just writing down what your dinners and breakfast and lunch are going to be for the week.
I thank you so much, and we look forward to working with y'all as the year goes along.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
So if you want to learn more about these recipes, as she was saying, if they just go to foodcity.com, they can...
Foodcity.com or foodcity.com/pickwell.
And then you can see the recipes. Remember to purchase a little bit of everything, watch your sodium intake, and 2,300 milligrams
of sodium salt
is what we are looking for, no more.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
At Ashley Home Store's Overstock Sale, you'll find everything you need to brighten up your home this new year. Shop Overstock deals up to 60% off. Hundreds of items in stock and ready for delivery for a limited time only at Ashley Home Store.